So what's happening is Bob steps forward, right, and he steps back on the other foot, and we know that we can hold the heel, and we know we can make the hook, and we know we can stretch the foot, pull the hook, and pull him here. Sometimes he may not exactly offset. I mean, people are always going to offset a little bit, right? But you have to see what you can get. You have to see what you can get. Maybe you're comfortable putting the hook in and just waiting for something, right? Maybe you're comfortable putting, let's switch actually, because Nate's over there with the camera. Yeah. Maybe you're comfortable putting the hook in and just sort of waiting for something to happen. You could put either hook in, right? And letting your feet do the work. Sometimes you may not be able to reach because he is a little bit farther back, right? So in this instance, the same trick is going to apply. I'm going to curve myself around the corner. And if I feel confident with this movement, with this position, with the feet and the hips, and I can use his hands, and I can switch my hooks at will, and I'm giving him a hard time so that he can't pass, and I'm relatively safe. Now, this is a pure grappling scenario, not a street fight. You'd like to convert this into a submission. You can drop the hook, right? You can drop the hook, and then curve yourself around the corner, and now you're going to hold on the same side as the hook. Remember, with the other sweep that we just did, the hook sweep, you're going to drop the hook, right, after you curve around the corner. So whatever leg is forward, choose a leg, you're going to curve there, right, and then you're going to drop the opposite hook, and you're going to go, right? Does that make sense? Yeah. So the hand and the hook are opposite. A little more advanced scenario here is you drop the hook, and now you're going to go the same side as the hook, right? Like this. So whatever side you make the hook, you're going to also curve around the corner and hold the hand on the same side. And now you're going to let this leg move in between his legs, and you're going to let this leg try to pass over at the same time. So when this happens, you need to rock up a little bit like a rocking chair. And you just sort of grab him here. Now if I stay like this, you see how Bob's squatting? It's fairly easy for him to use the leverage that he has here to work my hips continuously off the ground. So I can't leave my legs like this, right? I've got to take my outside leg and bring it all the way over to the inside, here. And now figure 4 by leg and try to hold this foot down, right? Try to get a lock here on his leg. Now if the camera comes around the corner, you'll see that it's put his leg in a very precarious position. The knee is bent, he's on the run facing away, and his entire foot has become exposed. Right? So what we'd like to do, if we can, is walk back a little bit to make some space. See this extra hook right here that's figure 4ing? That's going to go under his leg. And now that he's very securely controlled. To take him down, I'm just going to stretch a little bit, and I make him fall. And look what happens over here, guys. Right, the free hand, the same side that hook, just like before, that's the elbow that's closer to the ground, and it's going to go underneath his heel. Underneath his heel, around the back of his Achilles, while I trap his toes in the armpit. Like this, right? Now I join the hands palm to palm with no thumbs. I overlock the fingers, and I just start to twist. Okay? When you do this, it's very, very critical that you move as slowly as possible. This is perhaps the most dangerous submission in all of Jiu-Jitsu. It's called a heel hook, and it torques the foot in one direction while the knee moves in the opposite direction. It's like wringing out a towel, and the towel is your leg. And if this goes through all the way to completion, your leg is going to look like a wet towel that got wrung out because it shreds everything in between the 2 holding points. A lot of people who have heel hook injuries never recover the way their leg, to the point their leg used to function, right? So certainly like a fighter's career could be over. It's something very serious to pay attention to. So when you do this, and you secure underneath the heel, and you go palm to palm, and you overlock the fingers, hug it to your chest, and then very, very slowly, a millimeter at a time, just start to turn away from the foot. And the person who is being submitted, as soon as you feel any pressure at all, you should tap clearly, loudly, and make sure your partner knows to stop. Don't grab this and crank it on one another. It's not like when we practice some chokes or arm locks and you start to get excited during the drilling and you end up increasing the speed. This I'd like you to keep slow the entire time because it's much too dangerous to take a risk. The pain receptors in the knee are also amongst the slowest in the entire body. So oftentimes people will tap after the injury's occurred because it's too late. There's no need to do that, right? We're simply learning how to take a certain isolated part of the body and manipulate it to a level of discomfort, which if you ever need to use it in a real life scenario will cause very serious damage. You'll certainly render the person's leg useless if you can complete the submission all the way, right? So let's look at the technicalities of it. The feet are in the hips. Again, the person's maybe trying to punch, and my feet here are my lifeline between me and his fist, right? I don't want to get hit in the face, but I could drop the hook and go around the corner. I recommend going around the corner first, right? But whatever works, right? Maybe you get good enough, you're smooth, you can go at the same time. One, right here. Now at this point, you'd like to extend this leg behind him and take this leg over to the other side. Sometimes it helps if you square your hips a little bit to do that. Other times you can do it from here. You have to play with it a little bit until you get comfortable. But what you need to do for sure is once the leg clears underneath here, you've got to be willing to lift your hips up, right? You've got to go like this to get to the other side. So once you stretch the leg through, now you go up to the other side and you just cross and you get what you can. And you keep this, right? Now you're going to switch your hooks over to the other side because on the outside, you're a little vulnerable. So both your legs have to move here. You see, and it's a lot of force. It doesn't look like much, but it's hard for him to keep his base. And to make sure he doesn't get it back, I'm going to lock down on top of my foot. Now, if he's still standing, I'm going to loosen up so he can stand up a little bit. If he's still standing, I'll try to put this hook here behind the foot and then stretch him a little bit, and that's going to make him fall. It'll also expose his ankle to me. The hand that's low is the hand that was holding the heel. All you have to do is go underneath until the ridge part of your forearm connects with the Achilles tendon and the toes end up in the armpit. That's it, right? Now you'd like to keep this hand down. Don't keep the hand up. Sometimes people do this. It's not as powerful. Keep this hand down like you're looking at your watch or admiring your nails or something. Go palm to palm and bring it close to your chest first. And then very, very slowly, once you've got the hold locked, you can start to turn. And be very attentive to the partner because the position you're in, it's hard to see him. So you can't see him tap, right? And he can't reach you to tap you either. So be very, very aware of this, all right? Watch again as Bob does this, right? We're in an open guard situation, and he's got the feet at the same level on the hips, and he's going to choose to drop one of the hooks, whichever one he likes. Whatever hook he drops, he now grabs the heel on the same side. And try to get as low as possible. If you grab the calf, then sometimes it's easy for the person to take the foot out, right? He makes sure that the foot is turned here, so he has control of the hip, because if it's up, I can walk in and start to put the leg across. So this is like a giant hand smacked on the hip. He holds the heel, right? At this point, this leg has to go in between, and this leg has to come up and over, right? And he wants to be above the knee with both feet crossed. And he sort of just holds me here. Now he's going to transfer everything over to this side. And as he does, yes, look what happens. He hides this foot behind the other hook. Now if I stay on my feet, he can put the foot underneath, and as he stretches me, I fall. And look what it does. If the camera catches and you guys see, it really, really exposes my heel because it turns my knee, which turns my ankle up. So he's under my Achilles tendon with the ridge part of his forearm, which was already there because of the hook that he made initially around the back of my heel. And he keeps that hand down, so he's looking at his watch or the back of his hand. Then he joins the hands palm to palm and overlaces the fingers with no thumbs. It's called a gable grip. And then he very slowly turns. You're going to feel a lot of pressure right away, and you should tap immediately. Okay, I can't stress the importance of tapping here enough. Once this injury happens, it's very hard to come back from. Don't let it happen just in the course of a training session. Generally speaking, when we roll, we won't allow the heel hooks, and that was a way of keeping people safe. If, as time goes on, we see that there's enough experience on the mat and respect for the training partners, then we'll allow the heel hook scenarios to take place in the training. We'll also look at some defenses tonight for the heel hooks, but don't forget that the heel hook, once it's done, it's done. So you have to be extremely knowledgeable about the way the heel and the ankle and the foot and the arms and everything are moving in unison to save yourself from any kind of injury. Right? So right now, we're going to learn this because you should know everything and you should know what to expect so you can see it coming. But we're going to train it as slowly as possible so that no one gets hurt. Right? One more time, we're going to walk through it. Both feet are on the hips, and I just find whatever leg I'd like to grab. If it's close enough, I can put the hook, or if it's close enough, I can hold the hand, whatever, right? I like to put the hook here because I'd like to play this guard a little bit. And then I'm going to let him play around and try to pass while I just follow him, and then I'm looking for the situation where I can create the submission. So when I want to create the submission, I go around the corner and find the heel. And now I'm going to stretch this leg and get this leg to the other side. The inside leg stretches to make space, and the other leg goes over. You see? Just like this. Now I have to be above the knee. If I'm down here, this is useless. So at least get high, and now I can't stay here. I've got to shift everything to the other side. And when I do that, and I hide the heel, it makes his knee go down, and it exposes his heel. If he's still standing, that's fine. I just back up a little bit, and I put the hook under the foot until I can stretch him, and he falls. He'll fall backwards, right? You're just going to lift the hook, and he'll fall backwards. Once the heel is exposed, keep the toes in the armpit, and find the ridge part of the forearm. Keep that top hand turned down, palm to palm, fingers overlock, hug it tight, and then start to fall back and twist. And be really aware of the tap. Let go as soon as the tap happens. All right, let's try this out. Go ahead.